Hello everybody, this is Behemoth and my co-host The Little Red Machine, and we just got through watching AEW Double or Nothing, and I think we can answer that question pretty well.
Nothing.
That is right. That's not to say there wasn't anything good on the show, and we will give that its due, but we're going to take a big old shovel and bury the rest of it, and we're going to start with what might have been the worst part. That's arguable. That is, again...
Jesus.
That's like comparing yesterday's runny diarrhea to today's moldy, painful gas cramps.
True.
Possibly with a little bit of sharding. So the pre-show match, there's only one match on the pre-show, first of all.
Thank God.
Yes, and if I had not already been committed to seeing this show, I would have turned it off at the pre-show. Because this was the Best Friends versus Private Party, and I wish they'd have kept it private.
Amen, brother.
Because this was horrible. It was incredibly fake and looked like an awful Hollywood stage show. Just constant choreography, them butchering said choreography. It was just wretched. I actually wrote down one of the worst, most fake matches I've ever seen.
Slow, sloppy. If you didn't know that it wasn't real, they'd drive it into you just like a nail in your head.
There's a difference. Yeah, that's the difference. It's not that we don't know that wrestling isn't real. It's that there is absolutely no illusions. This is the Emperor is not just naked, but he's whipping out his genitals and gesticulating for you to come over here.
True.
It's
crude.
He doesn't have any.
Appropriate
he has no
analogy.
clothes. He has no tact. He's just there. Come on, let's get it on, baby. There were a couple of promos, too, which were totally nondescript. I think Arn Anderson was kind of rambling a bit, but it was all right. Just not that big a deal. But the pre-show was horrible. Let's make no buts about it. I don't have anything else to say about it. Do you have any other comments about the pre-show?
Sure. They
Go
could
for
have
it.
just left it off and it'd have been a better show just because it wasn't there.
The no show would have been better than the pre-show.
That's it.
I agree with that. All right, need some chocolate milk to fuel the rest of this. Let's go. So... Then we got a bunch of promos about the Casino Royale ladder match, which is like...
Oh, my God.
They didn't even announce all the people that were in it at the beginning. They just had promos from them, and then I forgot who it was by the end because it was like 9 people. And then they actually had a surprise entrant, too, Brian Cage. So we had Joey Janela looking like a hobo cosplaying as Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yes.
And we had Kip Sabian, who was doing a promo with the... What's his name? Jimmy Havoc in the white suit with the blood on it, and then his girlfriend Penelope, who's bigger than he is. And it's not because she's huge; it's because
he's tiny.
He's extremely small. And we had a Chris Daniels cut the promo for his teammates because
they're horrible.
Scorpio Sky is an awful promo, and Kaz has been flat as a pancake. So they had to have Chris Daniels, who wasn't even in the match, cut the promo, and he didn't show up for the match to help his team, even when other people were in there cheating. But more on that later. And then we had a wonderful promo from Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends.
Oh, my God.
Orange Cassidy is the coronavirus of professional wrestling. He spreads about and ruins everything that he touches. Even though it doesn't kill you, but it just makes you want to die just by watching him. Now, I know there were some promos I missed. Like there was a Darby Allin one, which was all right, but nothing special. Did I miss anything in the promos? You want to talk?
No.
You want anything you want to point? No, good. So then we had the Casino Ladder match, which was 2 people started, and then every 2 minutes somebody would come in. It was kind of like a Joker's Wild tournament from TNA a few years ago. See, this show is so bad, it's trying to act my throat up too. My throat and my dander, they're both going up.
Oh, God. That's bad to get your dander up.
So, in this match, we had... we started out with Kazarian and Scorpio Sky, the members of SCU. We had Orange Cassidy, we had Kip Sabian, Joey Janela, Brian Cage, Darby Allin. I don't even know. There were other... Oh, Luchasaurus. Who's the last one? I missed one.
Wasn't it?
No, Colt Cabana. There we go.
Oh, my God.
Can't even read my writing here because I tried to cram it so small because I'm like, I thought it was going to be like 6 people and it turned to be 9, so it's like tiny, ugly little writing. My writing's horrible anyway. But anyway, so Sky and Kazarian came out, then Havoc. At some point, I just stopped writing in people because there was so much going on. So Havoc actually helped Sabian, even though he's not in the match, and he's beating up both the SCU, and Daniels is nowhere to be found, and they don't even try to explain why he doesn't come out.
He was the smart one.
Yeah. And this match was okay up until the point when Orange Cassidy came out, because if you don't know, his gimmick is that he's the laziest man alive, but he's still able to outwit and outfox all of these actual wrestlers while he has his hands in his pockets, standing there looking like a complete fucking idiot. But everyone else looks like an idiot because he just kind of moves and then they just attack the air. And then he'll flip them or do the worst drop kick ever, and they'll jump and bounce everywhere. Even though
for some reason they rush at him, and then miraculously they just go to each side of them.
Yeah, it's
like magic.
It's the dumbest gimmick possibly in wrestling today. I can't say for sure because we also have a guy flinging people with his dick. So make your choice there. Idiot with hands in his pockets, or jackass chunking people across the ring with his genitals. God bless professional wrestling in 2020. But when he wasn't in the ring, it was fine, but everyone who got involved with him and didn't just pound him looked like a joke. And that's why I feel the way I do about him, because he is a joke and he makes everyone... Yeah. Oh, God.
Skateboard, that's what needed to happen to him.
So, Darby Allin climbs up on top of a ladder and tries to do like a cowabunga drop, just pulling out his skateboard to smash somebody through a ladder, and ends up hurting himself. Probably not for real, but maybe for real. But it was one of the most ridiculous and suicidal things I've seen in a long time. And he does this every match. He's the new Jeff Hardy, except for much smaller.
Yeah. Suicidal wise, yes.
Exactly. Just completely. The fans love him because he's a complete lunatic who will do anything
what the hell he's going to pull out
to kill himself or his opponent. So it was just a typical ladder match up until Brian Cage makes his surprise debut.
Yay! And I don't even like Cage.
No, but a real wrestler.
I know. That's why
he just came out and murdered everyone until they all ganged up on him and stacked the pieces of the set on top of him to stop him. And then eventually, he just rips his way out of the set like he's Superman, kills Darby Allin multiple times, and climbs the ladder and wins the match. Which I was just happy that...
I was so grateful he climbed the ladder and ended the match.
I'm just like... that. It was fine until Orange Cassidy showed up, and at that point I was just like, oh God, why?
Well, he made everybody look stupid.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to look like a complete idiot, that's fine, but why do you got to make credible professional wrestlers look like complete fucking dumbasses?
Absolutely. It takes the credibility away from them, and these people work hard,
and there's a lot of
a good show, and he ruins it.
Some of the stuff that they did was just ridiculous for what was basically thrown away as a joke.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then,
if you're watching Doomsday Wrestling, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But this is supposed to be serious wrestling.
Yeah. When you mix some comedic bullshit with serious wrestling, you get neither. No. And it just fucks everything up. You gotta go one way or the other. Or if you're gonna be funny, do it like in the back with your comedies or your promos, and not start
in the middle of the wrestling.
jerking your chicken in the middle of the match. It don't make no sense. And it takes me out of it. It'd be like if you're watching if you're watching a movie and the main character suddenly grabs the camera and starts singing Kumbaya.
Oh jeez.
It kind of takes away from the rest of what's going on.
Just a little bit.
So the next match we had is MJF versus Jungle Boy. At the very beginning, we had a bunch of little spots where basically MJF wasn't taking Jungle Boy seriously, and there was a lot of gymnastics. And then it started to get good when MJF faked an injury. So he acted like his knee was hurt, classic heel shtick. And then as soon as Jungle Boy turned his back, he jumps him, tosses him into the turnbuckle, and takes control. And at that point, it got really good. So they did a lot of back and forth, and MJF was in control through most of it. He kept working Jungle Boy's arm. And in the end, he finally beat him with a counter to a counter and to a leverage pin where he was holding Jungle Boy's arm. And MJF cheated constantly through the match and just constantly trash talk and punked out Jungle Boy. And he even kept the trash talking going after the match. He was great. And Jungle Boy has improved dramatically since the start of his career.
Absolutely. I was very, very much impressed with the improvement in Jungle Boy.
And they've said it during the show, but for anybody who doesn't know, he's the son of Luke Perry, and who apparently also was a big wrestling fan, although he never actually tried to get into it as far as I know. But his son is into it, and this was a good match to showcase the talents of both of these two young men. And they actually played it straight. There wasn't like somebody running around taking a shit in the ring or
some stupidity on the
with his
outside
hands
of
in
the
his
damn
pockets
ring.
or throwing a hand grenade that wasn't real or anything.
Or changing their clothes underwater.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, God.
That's to come.
That's to come, and it's just ridiculous.
Yep.
Honestly, I know that you're probably going to say the next match was probably the best, but I actually enjoyed this one better than any others.
That's fair. To me, these are the only two matches on the show that I would consider were above average.
I think we're looking at two young men that both have a lot of potential,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we're looking at probably MJF is probably going to be the one that's carrying that show from here on out, especially with the way they're doing Jericho.
Oh, Lord. That's...
ruining him. They're making him one of them an idiot. I'm disappointed.
Yeah. So the next match was Cody versus Lance Archer. And we had Mike Tyson out there to present the to present the championship to whoever won. That was the ugliest championship.
Wasn't it, though? Well, they said it wasn't complete because of the corona thing. It's supposed to have, like, some other kind of trim around.
Well, I hope they make it look better because it looks cheap like the WWE tag team titles.
I know, it looks like a kid's belt.
Which is what the WWE belts look like.
Yeah, exactly.
And Tyson was having a blast in this match, just watching and rooting on Cody the whole time.
I didn't realize that he was such a big wrestling fan.
And you could tell from watching him that he wasn't faking. He was having a great time out there. He was sitting in a little chair by ringside, and he was chanting Cody and smiling and throwing fists and stuff. This is a good example of a classic wrestling match of the big nasty heel versus the scrappy underdog. And Cody and Archer both really brought their best game here. And they also had the Gaga really helped from having the two managers on the outside. That'd be Arn Anderson and Jake the Snake Roberts, two pros. And this was just a really well done match. I don't have anything bad to say about it, except for some reason, the referee asked them if they wanted to shake hands. That part I did not understand. It does, considering these guys are supposed to be in a blood feud,
right.
That was never going to happen. Lance hit his finishing move immediately in the match, and Cody rolled out, and then Archer was basically took control from there for several minutes afterward. At some point, both managers were ejected after Arn was caught crotching Archer on the top rope. Mm-hmm. And Jake teased pulling out his
brought the bag out with the snake in it.
But Mike Tyson ran him off.
It was kind of fun. Mike Tyson gets up and says, "Oh no, you don't." Rips off his shirt and says he wants to fight. Got his fists up.
Yep.
And he was really into it. He made you believe he was really pissed
that he was going to beat the shit out of Jake.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Good psychology.
Mm-hmm. In the very end, Archer was about to hit his finisher, and Cody rolled over his shoulders, hit him with the crossroads, and then hit him again with it to pin him. This was my favorite match of the show, although I can understand why you'd like the last one with MJF and Jungle Boy. Cody's the first champion this is basically their TV title. But everything about this match was what it needed to be.
Good psychology.
It was a classic heel versus face. The crowd, for what it was, granted, it was mostly just friends, family, and the lower card wrestlers, but they were.
Come on, they had a Guerrero out there. You gotta give her points.
Oh yeah, she was loud throughout the night and was into it.
Yeah, and it helped. It gave the audience that was watching on TV or on the internet, whatever, more interaction.
Yeah,
more
it was
excitement.
One thing I will say for AEW, having the people out there makes it much easier to watch than the WWE shows where there's nobody out there, because it's too quiet. Wrestling is not good without a crowd.
You have to have some kind of noise.
I mean, some wrestlers can do it and still make it credible, but it's just
that's the problem with WWE. They'll stand and wait for the reaction of the crowd, and
that isn't even there.
Crowd. Don't do that. It makes you look stupid.
Yeah.
So it was good that they had the audience.
And they were, for both MJF and Jungle Boy and Cody versus Lance Archer,
they were really
it was obvious who the crowd was for, it was obvious who they were against, and that made it a lot more enjoyable to watch.
The other thing about having the two golden oldies out there, which is Blanchard, of course.
And Anderson.
Not Blanchard. Anderson. I don't know why I keep saying Blanchard. Anderson and, I maybe forget what I was going to say.
Jake Roberts.
Yeah. It brought another audience in. It brought several different generations together, which was kind of nice to see, because that's what wrestling is.
But don't worry, we'll happily run those people off before too long. I think you're thinking Blanchard because of the next match.
Probably.
Oh, sorry, not the next match. The match after that.
Yeah, the one after it. That's one.
Oh boy, was that ridiculous.
Oh my God.
The next match was actually Penelope Cruz versus Chris Statlander. I keep wanting to call her Statlander just like you did last night.
I couldn't get it right.
So Statlander's gimmick is that she's an alien from another galaxy. And she likes to put her finger on people's noses. Yep, that's it.
It's so retarded. Just crazy. Come on.
Penelope Cruz looked like she actually had some talent. But Statlander went over with a pile driver. It looked like kind of like the Michinoku driver, but some kind of variation. But it's not. It wasn't that great a match. It was just I could see that Penelope had some skills. They both have some athletic skills, but Statlander's kind of sloppy and looks like she might be dangerous, and she's just doesn't. The stuff she does doesn't look right.
Her moves aren't smooth.
No.
She's awkward.
Yeah, and she's very big, like height-wise. So when you're that big and that awkward, you can potentially...
She's big height-wise, and she's got some weight on her. She's got big legs.
Yeah,
she's a big woman.
Not fat, but just big.
She's just big. She's got big bones, almost like a man. And Penelope Ford, although she's a little...
Oh, yeah. It is Penelope Ford. I put Penelope Cruz down.
Oh, my goodness. Totally different woman, man.
My God.
Woo. Yeah.
I think after the... I was going to say maybe I needed a drink, but that wouldn't have been the case up until the next few matches.
Oh, yeah. In about 10 minutes, you're going to need the drink.
Yeah. So the next match was a quick, brutal Shawn Spears versus Goldust. So the Goldust had the crap beaten out of him by Lance Archer the previous week, and Shawn Spears called him out, hoping he could get a cheap count-out victory. But then Goldust showed up behind him, and he just destroys him utterly, just squashes him completely, including pulling his pants down, spanking him, and pulling all of his clothes off so that we could see that Tully Blanchard was on Shawn Spears' underwear right above his penis.
Yeah.
And that is a horrible visual that
you don't want in
you
your
don't
mind.
need. And you got to see Shawn Spears' ugly white ass, too.
Ugh. I kept begging for him to pull his drawers up.
Yep.
Ugh.
So we know that Shawn Spears likes having Tully on his dick, apparently. I mean on his underwear right above his dick. Yeah, that's right. So this was a nothing match, but it got over Goldust strong.
I like the comment from one of the commentators, and I can't remember which one said
It was Jim Ross.
Which Ross, it had to be. He said that he was auditioning for a prison movie.
Yes.
I thought that was funny as hell.
And he said something about his crack, too.
Oh, my God. Call a doctor because his ass is cracked.
That's right. Yeah, so Jim Ross was just like...
I love Jim Ross.
He was just like, oh, the hell with it. They're not taking this seriously. I'm not either. So he's just cracking jokes.
Yeah, he was great. I loved it. It's nice to have Ross back.
Yes, because he's one of the few announcers with any credibility and any kind of skill in wrestling nowadays.
And he calls the match, and he calls the right moves when they're done. He doesn't call them something else or talk about something totally different.
He doesn't talk about the app or...
Yeah, which is nice.
The universe. Oh, and then the next match.
Oh,
now,
my God.
I'll talk about this one because you were too disgusted to even bother with this one.
I can't say anything.
So we had Nyla Rose, who's pushing 300 pounds at least, versus Hiroku Shida, who is about a 120-pound Japanese girl. So you would think, coming into this match, that the bigger girl, Nyla Rose, would dominate, and then Shida would use her speed in order to pretend, and also possibly cheat because no DQ, so you can use whatever you want. So here's what actually happened. Shida just did all of her regular moves like as if Nyla was 100 pounds. She did a Hurricane Rana on her that looked ridiculous. She picked her up, Nyla Rose, which is actually pretty impressive. She hip tossed her, which looked bad, but then she picked her up, gave her a suplex. They did a superplex. Then Nyla got control again, hit her with a power bomb, hit her with the chair 4 times early on, and Shida just kicks out of absolutely everything. She's like super Shida. And then she just pins her clean as a whistle right in the middle of the ring with the Shining Wizard. It was... Oh, and I can't hesitate to say that they took a million years on the top rope for a super Falcon Arrow spot, which didn't even end the match. They just ended the match on a regular move instead of the big off-the-top rope move. Mm-hmm. The match had absolutely no psychology, and by the end I was laughing because it was so stupid. It made no sense. I won't say that I was unhappy with the result, because Nyla Rose is slower than molasses rolling down a hill, and her matches are painful to watch. But it was so stupid, and it just felt like a giant waste of time. And the women's division, they've got some talent, but it's real thin. And some of the people in there are just awful. And that's all I have to say about that.
Worst match of the night.
I don't know. It was either that or the tag match. Well, I guess the worst on the main show. I'll give you that.
On the main show.
Let's move on. John Moxley versus Brody Lee for the AEW title. I'm not sure. I may have actually hated this more, even though it wasn't worse. No, probably not, but it's still bad. So Brody Lee is the head of what they call the Dark Order, the worst gimmick in AEW. And that is saying something. Well, maybe not worse than Orange Cassidy. That's close. But the worst gimmick that isn't totally stupid and just complete bullshit. Like, and they didn't even have the two original members of the Dark Order. They just have Brody Lee and a bunch of scrubs with masks on.
Yeah.
And not even good masks either, like stuff you'd buy at Walmart. And they didn't even come out with them this time, or if they didn't stay there. So the heel with his big group doesn't even use his group in this match. So why is he a heel? Why didn't he use them to get the unfair advantage? Who the hell knows? John Moxley is the champion. They spend half the match, if not longer, outside of the ring. There was never any kind of count out or count. They used weapons. There was never said it was no DQ, but the referees was like, what the fuck, who cares? Both guys act like they had serious brain damage, like they'd just stare off, they'd make weird faces. Brody Lee would look out into space like he just didn't know what the hell was going on. It was awful. Absolutely awful. And the biggest spot of the match, so Moxley hits a DDT through the stage, and they both just got back in the ring.
Yeah, made no sense whatsoever.
Although it would have been better than a bullshit double count out, I guess. But still, it was like... And then they're trying to put this guy Lee over, but he has nothing. He's not intimidating. His style looks weak. He does like slaps and chops, and it's this big guy who's like 6'5", 270 pounds.
Come on, he's bitch slapping for like a little man or a woman.
Yeah. These chops and the slaps, and he does these slow aerial maneuvers, which he does fine, but he's a big guy, you know? It's like, I want to see him kick some ass.
Exactly.
I want to see this guy who's just like ruthless and just pounds you, but no. He's like slapping and chopping, and
the problem is
he's wearing
awkward. He's awkward.
And he wears this horrible outfit.
Oh my god.
I don't even know how to describe it. What is it you said about it?
He's awkward. The outfit he had on?
Yes.
Oh my god, he looks like he's wearing like a dancer. Like one of the...
You said that he looked like he was wearing the defibrillators, right?
Oh, you're talking about the jacket. He wore that long white jacket. Yeah, it looked like he had the defibrillator pads, the gold pieces he had. That's what it looked like. Pads that use on defibrillator.
Yeah. So,
maybe he's on a budget.
If you were the head of the Dork Order, you would be too.
Well, there you go. If it was a Dork Order, I could see having the defibrillator patches on there.
Yeah, because that gimmick is on life support.
Exactly.
But in the end, Moxley won. But this is the best part. This is my favorite part. They have this grueling match. Moxley hits him with 3 of his finishers, like right in a row, and then he wins. Lee kicks out of both of those and then loses to a sleeper hold. A move which never beats anyone in wrestling.
No.
It would be like if I hit you in the head with a steel chair, pile drove you through a table off a ladder, and then I pinned you with a roll-up. Super anticlimactic.
That's getting to be a norm, though.
It is.
They'll do this fantastic move, like up on the top ropes, and they do, a jump that you think, oh my god, they're going to kill each other.
And then they just get up.
Yeah, and then the next thing happens, they roll them up, and that's how they win. It makes no sense. You just did this fantastic maneuver.
End on a high note.
Right. End on a high note.
Otherwise, why would you do it? If you're not going to end...
hell of a bump for nothing.
Exactly. If you're not going to end the match with this big thing, then why bother?
I don't know. Maybe wrestling has changed, and maybe
it's changed to where it makes no damn sense and has no psychology, and it's boring. Or it's just outright weird, offensive, just stupid.
The problem is that there are some wrestlers who go out of their way to give you a good show, and they work like hell to make it look good and to impress people and do a good job, and then you get these morons that come along and they undo all this work that these guys have done.
And I'm not even going to say that these guys weren't trying, because I don't think that's it.
No.
It's just that I don't think that they're that good. I don't see what other people see in Moxley. I have not ever really seen it. He just does lots of outside brawling. Mm-hmm. I mean, he has kind of a presence that he feels like he's a tough guy, but he really just does lots of garbage wrestling. Like,
I agree totally.
Walk and brawl, punch, kick, DDT, bring in some weapons. Don't spend any time in the ring unless you have to. It's like, what's the big deal? It's not like he's so great on the mic either.
You know, the thing is that I think the difference for us between some of the people that are watching now and we that watch now from the older school is we're looking at past people we watched and admired. Benoit, the one who should never be spoken of, but he was a hell of a talented performer. He did the mat wrestling. He did moves. He didn't do junk and trash.
Well, and it's not just about doing moves, because some of these guys can do incredible athletic moves. It just doesn't really make any sense in the context of the match.
There's no psychology.
No.
Either, so the two go together.
In Moxley's case, I don't. If you have one thing and you're really good at it, that's often enough. Like if you're amazing on the mic. I know you just.
Yeah, that's just that he's not.
I don't see the mic skills. I don't see that he's that good of a wrestler. I mean, what is there? I don't get it. And I mean, it's not like AEW's drawing millions of people. Come on.
They draw a limited audience.
Yes, because they don't aspire to anything but that audience.
Mm. The really good thing about this match had nothing to do with either of the performers. It was the audience. The chick in the purple top. She was awesome. She was trash talking with them, and
she was
that
way the whole match.
Yes, she was awesome.
But,
it added a lot to this.
Absolutely. I mean, the interaction between the crowd helped a lot of this, which would have made. Imagine what it would have been like without it.
Oh my God, it'd have been dead.
I might have actually hated this more than I did the last WWE show.
Oh, I know I would have.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it was the interaction from the people that were there.
Oh boy! But then we have our main event for the evening, and they tried to do the double main event bullshit that WWE says, but there's only one main event to a wrestling show.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, they chose this to be the main event, which was called a Stadium Stampede match, but you should have just called it the Outlaw Mud Show match, because that's what this is. And I'm stealing Cornette's gimmick here.
It's true, though.
But it's true.
He's dead on.
So we had Jericho's group, the Inner Circle, versus the Elite, and that is the goofballs who run the show who are also wrestlers. So I will name the participants. So we've got Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, who's Jack Swagger, and New LAX, also called Proud and Powerful, the bromosexuals, Santana and Ortiz, and you got the Young Bucks.
That's the Elite.
For the Elite, you got the Young Bucks, Matt Hardy, Kenny Omega, and Adam Page, the Drunken Cowboy. So, this match is hard for me to just review as a match because it really wasn't a match. It was just like a 10-man clown show.
Well, let's start with it's pinfalls anywhere in the stadium and no DQs.
And Jericho's team comes out in NFL jerseys.
Yes.
With
football.
Yeah, and they had cheerleaders out there for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, it's a football stadium.
Yeah, they were wrestling in a football stadium. That is true. And they had a giant ring in the middle of the football stadium, which they use sometimes, but not all the time. And I don't even know why they bothered.
Briefly.
I don't know why they bothered.
No.
This was not a match. This was a cluster that was entertaining, but incredibly stupid. Like, this is right up there with the corporate ladder match for WWE on levels of stupid. It might have actually passed it up.
Oh, but by far. Because, I mean, look... Page is gone for what? The first 10 minutes?
Was it that? I thought it was longer.
It seemed like longer, but I
think
he
comes out riding on a horse like he's going to run over Sammy Guevara, and then he gets off the horse eventually and decides, fuck it, I'm going to go drink in the bar. And you know what? I understood that because this was such a joke at this point that why would you want to be involved in it? No, with that said, there was so many stupid things, and I just after a while you just stop taking it seriously, and all the people in it are just content to be goofs. And if that's what you want to do, you want your highest paid, supposedly best wrestlers to be total goofs that no one will take seriously. Great. So I just started laughing along with it. Because, oh my God, there was so much to laugh about because this was the stupidest fucking thing. Like, when they started hitting each other with footballs. They hit each other with footballs.
Right off the bat.
Yep, and then one of them, somebody's got spiked in the groin. Do you remember who got hit in the groin with the football? Was it Jericho that got whacked in the ding-dong with the football?
Jericho.
Yeah, and they hit each other with the little plastic...
traffic cones.
The traffic cones. And Jericho decided to wear one, at which point you died laughing.
I cracked up.
He started making weird noises and wearing the traffic cone for no reason.
Smiling like a damn fool.
Like a total goon. It was funny. I won't say it wasn't.
But this is such a switch for Jericho because he's always been a serious wrestler. I mean, he knows when to have his fun, but when he's wrestling, he's serious, man.
Not
this
anymore.
Is serious business. And this was just like the total opposite. And I thought, oh my God, I thought he would perhaps convert these people better, but I think they're taking him over. And that's
they're making him much worse.
Yes,
he's going to outlaw the outlaws.
That's it.
Out mud show the mud show. And then the worst thing in this whole match, which you alluded to earlier, which is Matt. Would you like to describe the Matt changing?
Oh my God, Matt Hardy.
So broken Matt Hardy.
At one point I thought that he was an exceptional wrestler and he had it all going for him. And then we got this man who I don't know who the hell he is, but he's a moron. They take him, it's Santana and Ortiz, grab him, and they're trying to drown him in the pool.
Yeah, they're trying to actually murder him.
Right.
Which is another issue, but go on.
Okay, so they're counting. Hardy is giving you the little signs and he's counting. And all of a sudden, he has a different outfit on.
He's totally changed gimmicks.
Mm-hmm. Totally changed gimmicks and different clothes.
Yep.
So then he comes out and they wrestle around for a bit. And they shove him back down in the water. And here we go again. He does this, four times?
He was 4 different gimmicks. He went from broken to V1 to Big Money Matt.
Oh my God.
And then back to broken.
It was the stupidest shit I've ever seen.
It was pretty dumb. So that they murder Matt and he comes back to life as a different gimmick. And the worst part is, and I don't know if you caught this, the announcers tried to say that this was the fountain of rejuvenation, like from TNA and Impact. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that. And I thought, I'm just totally going to ignore that because you're retarded. You're nuts.
And then my favorite part of the match. So Matt finally gets out of the pool and he duct tapes, was it Santana?
Mm-hmm.
No, it was Ortiz. He duct tapes Ortiz to a wheelchair and bangs the bell while he's right by the bell. And then he says, I rang your bell. And I'm like, okay, I've given up on this match, but God, this is so funny, it's stupid. Actually, I have it backwards. He rang his bell, then he duct taped him. But still, point is, he rang a bell as an offensive maneuver in this match and then duct taped him to a wheelchair where he never was able to get out. And then he took Santana and stuck him in the ice machine.
You forgot, he hits him with the sign first, the mop sign. Then he sticks him in the ice machine.
Yes. They at that point, they go back to Paige, who's getting wasted in the bar.
In the meantime, you skipped the best part.
I skipped a lot of things.
Wheelchair, where he just shoves him and the guy is just rolling along by himself.
Yeah, he's just rolling by himself.
Who the hell knows where he winds up? Poor thing probably hit a wall.
Who knows? I blocked out a lot of this, but I wrote down the highlights from, or if you want to call them that, highlights, lowlights, however you want to say it. So Swagger, Hager, whatever
you want to call
goes
it.
and finds Paige, and then they start fighting in the bar, and basically he just beats the crap out of Paige all over the bar, and then runs him down the bar like a goof in the
Face
80s movie.
First and hits all the glasses and everything on the bar.
You've seen it. If you've watched the 80s movies, you've seen it. And that's exactly what happened. He was like the bully beating the crap out of Paige until Omega shows up later. So then there was another funny part, which Jericho is... who was it he threw in? He threw someone in the Jaguar head, and then the Jacksonville Jaguar mascot shows up, and Jericho kicked him in the balls. That was my favorite. That was right before
Sammy that he threw in the
that was when he put on the cone too.
Yeah. Oh my God, he cracked me up.
And then there was some call. Oh, he tried to make a pinfall, and he challenged the referee's call like it was football, and for some reason he had a red flag in his pocket and he threw it down. And then
like a penalty flag.
Yeah, like a penalty flag. And then they went in the tent, and you're like, what is he doing in the tent? I'm like, he's challenging the call like this was actually professional football. And you let out like an audible groan as to, oh my God, this is stupid. And you could hear him just yelling at her constantly while he was in the tent. And then one of the Bucks, I always mix them up, was doing like this repeated suplex all the way through, like it was northern,
all the way around
the stadium. He went from one side of it to the other, and then he got a penalty for excessive celebrating, like this was a football thing, because they don't care anymore.
There's one thing we didn't cover.
Oh, go ahead. Go.
Back.
By all means.
The crazy crap where they were on the goalpost.
Oh yeah, the moonsault off the goalpost.
Into Jericho.
Yeah. Yeah.
They take these bumps for no reason. They could have really gotten hurt on that. It was just stupid.
The whole match was stupid.
Yeah, but that was really bad. I mean, they could have really hurt themselves.
So, but by the end of it, everybody from Jericho's team was incapacitated except for poor Sammy Guevara.
Oh, he couldn't cut a break.
No, so they tried to run him over with the golf cart again, which apparently they'd done on the previous like TV show. And then finally, everybody chased him down and threw him off the stand. One-winged angel from Omega through this gimmick floor, and they pinned him for the win. This match was both the dumbest thing on the show, but also it was incredibly funny because it was the stupidest fucking shit you'd ever watch. It's just like, it's like you said, it's like watching Doomsday comedy wrestling.
I mean, if that's what it is, that's fine. But you're
ruining your main eventers.
Right, you're ruining your main eventers, and you're posting this as a serious wrestling show.
Maybe I don't think they know what they want to do. They don't want to be serious, but they want to be funny. They want to be serious, but
you can do that. You just can't combine the two in a match.
Yeah, and especially if you did this with a bunch of jobbers, who cares?
Yeah, but you're doing this with your top guys. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Your highest paid guys are all goofs.
Mm-hmm. Or the one thing you didn't mention too.
Oh, I'm sure there's plenty of things.
The line. Remember where they had
God, go ahead. Tell everyone.
I'm sorry. I thought this is it. I'm just going to lose it.
Go for it.
They were strangling. Matt was strangling Jericho with a baseball bat, and so finally he gets him down, and he walks away from him. And one of the young bucks, I don't know which one it was. I think it was Nick, but I'm not sure. Anyway, comes with the machine that puts the regulation lines, and puts it right up Jericho's crotch and just all the way up over his chest and over his face. Now tell me how that has to do with wrestling.
He was drawing the line at that maneuver.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Zing! So that was the show. It was a piece of shit, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. There was 2 matches that were worth watching, so I recommend you watch MJF versus Jungle Boy, Cody versus Lance Archer, and skip the rest of the show.
Only if you get it for free.
Oh, yeah, don't pay money for this.
It's not worth you paying money for.
No, please, spare yourself. Spare your wallet. Go spend it on something more important. Spend it on
yourself a popsicle, a lollipop, a beer, anything.
Couple of porno magazines.
Absolutely.
Maybe some glue to stick inside your brain so you can forget the main event. Whatever it is, don't actually do that, folks.
Don't do it.
But that was our review.
Thanks for
listening.
If you
enjoyed our review, like, comment, share, subscribe, possibly send us your firstborn child. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.